Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is Margaret Pinard. You're here. You're on BookTube. We're excited. What are we doing today? What are we doing? We are doing a Wednesday wrap-up. Happy Wednesday. It happens to be March 15th, which is the Ides of March. I thought about doing a themed video, something about the Romans or classics or I don't know, assassinations, but Julius Caesar will have to wait for another day. So welcome, everybody. If you don't know me, my name is Margaret. I am a historical fiction and fantasy author and an eclectic reader, and we definitely have an eclectic bunch of books to wrap up today. So I am going to do a repeat experience and have one of these that I'm going to do a standalone book review for on Sunday, I believe. But I will give you my reviews of all of them as we go through. Very excited because we've got some great reads. 4 stars-ish is the average this week. So, and I also, just like February with the Black Author Tuber Readathon, will be featuring an Irish readathon book each week. So I'm trying to meet them out one a week so I have an update each week for the readathon because we like readathons here. So I thought I'd say hi to people in the chat. Author JC Carpenter was here first, so definitely want to point that out. Shannon is usually here first, so welcome. Esty Houston. She's taking a screen break, which are healthy and necessary, but sad to see her go. Assassinations. Hey, Ides of March, right? Julius Caesar got it, I don't know, 29 times. And RC is here. Hello, hello. So welcome everybody who is tuning in live or people who are watching on the replay. I've got 4 books for you this week. An eclectic reader and a fast reader. I don't know, 4 books a week. Fast for some, slow for others. Hi, Jeremy. Happy spring break. I don't know about spring break, but it's feeling springy here in Portland. Yeah. All right, so what am I going to do first? Oh, let's go with the overlay first so I don't have to worry about popping this up and back. What do we have first? Oh, God. Oh, God. Yeah. So this book, Sex Talks by Vanessa Marin and Xander Marin, was an interesting find. I got it as an ARC on Libro.fm. So thank you to Libro.fm and Vanessa Marin. We love Libro.fm for audiobooks. The compassionate alternative for indies, am I right? And I read the synopsis and I thought, well, this sounds interesting. Conversations that will transform your love life. Okay. All right. I'm into some relationship psychology books, so I thought, okay, this is interesting. I know I've got hang-ups and stuff about sex, and so I thought this might be really good since I can't get into therapy right now, as hard as I try. This might be good to listen to as a side visit, an accompaniment. And let me tell you, the link to buy is down in the description. It's 5 stars. I definitely recommend. I also recommend following their Instagram because they're all over the Instagram. Here, I'll pop it in the chat. And very expressive, very much like the book. So here's why I give it 5 stars. Short version, because I'll do a standalone book review. A+ content for information, research, science, psychology. This is her expertise. She's been a sex therapist for 10 plus years. Licensed and has all the vocabulary and the sort of science to back up what she's saying. So there's that solid grounding. Second thing is A+ for personal sharing, right? Recently on Instagram, Vanessa was saying that she has, and they both have, a vulnerability hangover from sharing so much in this book, which it is what it is. We all have issues, right? But that just gives you an idea of how much they shared about their own sex lives to sort of give examples and explain nothing's perfect. We all work through this. You just need to understand why you do certain things, why your partner does certain things, why you feel you need certain things, why you feel afraid of certain things. And she breaks it down really, really well. it's by them both, but it's probably like 70% her voice when I was listening to the audiobook. That felt about right. Xander, her husband, would pop in maybe like once a chapter and say the other half, like as from his point of view as a regular dude, not a licensed therapist, etc., and sort of his experiences and stuff. So I thought that was working really well for them. And then also the delivery mechanism. So books like this can be super informative, but also just die on the doorstep because the person doesn't know how to come across in a relatable way. And that is not the case here. The writing is great, and narrating is great. She knows how to talk, which I would expect from a therapist who's in sessions. The way they do extras on Instagram, where they're doing stories and polls, she says that they've been doing the Instagram account for several years, and they get 20,000 to 50,000 responses to their polls. So they've got a lot of data to work with to try to understand how the general public, or at least their audience, understands issues or has problems, etc. So that's super cool. She goes into a lot about ground rules for communication, how to make communication better, because a lot of times our own delivery mechanisms are what get in the way of healthy relationships. And so it's not a whole course on that, but it's definitely about, this is a tricky thing to talk about it. Let's just lay that on the line and get over ourselves and dive in because we really care about this relationship and want it to go well. So that was great. Also, A+ inclusivity with gender identities. They state at the beginning what their values are. They have inclusive language throughout. They have examples that are inclusive throughout, which I thought were really great for even me being like hetero, cis, everything. Understanding how a dynamic would work in a different case was really interesting and helpful. And different sexual experiences, obviously. So much goodness in the delivery mechanism, and never heard of them before, never knew their Instagram. So thank you, Libro.fm. And I see Richard in the comments. Let me just check in with the chat here to see how we like Sex Talks and how excited we are for the fact that I'm going to do a standalone book review for this one and go into more detail on Sunday. Yes, I'll pick that one. Author J.C. Carpenter. So sideline here. Let me take this down. Are you picking any books this month for Women's History Month? And, I don't have a specific TBR for Women's History Month, but a lot of my Irish Readathon books are written by women, which you'll hear later today in one of my books for today. And the one for next week. And I think that's it. So 2 of the 4 are written by women. So I got some crossover going there. So good question. Let's see what else we can mine from the comments. Emma is here. Yes, hello. And I think Emma Bennett and Richard Holiday might have different opinions on the Sex Talks thing from the Americans. Oh goodness. Although this is a fair pun. Thank you, Richard. Surveying people about intimacy sounds like pole dancing. Yes. And that is actually what the book is a lot about, is intimacy and connection. She also goes into like the sex stuff because that's what people have a hard time talking about unless someone like puts it out there to sort of critique. And so she volunteers as the guinea pig, which is fantastic. But yeah, intimacy and connection. And I just really like how they put this book together. So way to go, Vanessa Marin. Check out their Instagram. And yeah, fun stuff to come on Sunday. So that was the first book. All right. Now I can calm down and I can like take a deep breath and like my temperature will drop after talking about that. No, I'm not immune to being embarrassed about talking about sex. Okay, so after a long time, the second book I finished this week was a reread, Boundless Heart, The Buddha's Path of Kindness, Compassion, Joy, and Equanimity by Christina Feldman. And I read this 7 years ago. Gave it 5 stars. This is like the third renaissance of self-help for any who are keeping track. And I think I went through it slower this time. It's a short book, but it's very dense. Not just the text, which is very dense, but also the word choice, the diction, the concepts, every sentence really. And so I really took it slow this time to try to absorb it and get a different sort of take and see if I still liked it. I think I put it down from a 5 to a 4. But let's see. I categorize it as self-help / philosophy stroke spirituality for the Brits. There's 4 main tenets, as I read in the title, and the book explores their relationships through the lens of them being the 4 Brahma Viharas. I don't study Buddhism, so I don't know what that is, but I know, at least from yoga, we do a lot of referencing old texts and basically realizations that people had hundreds or even 1,000 years ago about the purpose of life and our relationship with the universe. And I'm interested in that kind of stuff. So without having to go into the religion aspect of it, I tried to understand the concepts and see what I can take away from it to better my experience on this earth, right? So these are all 4 things I want: kindness, compassion, joy, equanimity. The one I was most interested in both times reading this was equanimity, because I feel like, as a 4 on the Enneagram, I'm constantly up here, down there, up here, down there. And being someone with equanimity means that you're more on an even keel, and I feel like that might be more efficient for the writing part of me. So definitely read through this with an eye for that. I'm interested, now that I've read it again and I have it fresh in my mind, to compare this with the Susan Cain book that I talked about. Let's see if I can get it without toppling everything in this pile. Oh, good. I did it good. Susan Cain, Bittersweet, How Sorrow and Longing Make Us Whole. And she's the famous author of Quiet, and I got this from the library, as you can see. It's a new release, and so I'm kind of thinking, like, are these going to be butting up against each other? Are they going to be in agreement? Am I going to find a way to take away things from them both? Equanimity says that, you are not a boat that is rocked by the ocean waves of terror and sorrow and high emotion, but sorrow and bliss seem to be the counter argument of those things can actually give you good or give you benefits in your life, because it's part of life. So I'm wondering how they'll fit together. So that has got me very curious. Yeah, I think it was 5 stars in the first time because it was so new, and I was sort of goggle-eyed, oh my gosh, this is so cool how it fits into each other. But this one, JC is saying you downgraded it. Interesting. I think my rating system has also sort of matured a bit. So I'm 4 stars is a solid, good read, and informational and provocative, but not 5 stars is something that when I think of the book, I can't think of anything wrong with it. So this is downgraded to very interesting, but not solving all my problems in one book. We'll see what I do when I compare it with the other one. So that was Boundless Heart, and I've got 2 more books. But before we proceed, I wanted to do the little announcements portion. Ta-da! So what do I have? Okay, I've got an interesting little call for questions out on my community tab. So I'd love it if people would go and give me suggestions. I've got a birthday coming up next month, and I've done a couple things for birthdays in my almost 3 years on BookTube, and they've been okay. They've been fun. I'm just looking for something different this time. So I was looking for suggestions. And I got a couple good ones already that I'm pondering. So if you've got an idea for something to do for my birthday, and this is a special birthday in April because it's going to be 42, which is obviously the number that unlocks the secrets of the universe if you're a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy Douglas Adams fan. I've never read any of his stuff. No, I have. I've read The Dark Tea Time of the Soul. I've read one of his books, but, not Hitchhiker's Guide. but apparently 42 is very important. So I'm looking forward to this year and would love your suggestions, your sci-fi tinted suggestions for a booktube birthday bash idea. So that's in the comments. The other thing that we decided, I put up a poll for the Backstage Book Club, which is my Patreon book club, and we go offline for our discussions. And the book for April is going to be Library of Legends by Janie Chang. I'm super excited about this. I've got this. Look at that cover. It's so beautiful. It's one of those ones where like it's exactly my aesthetic. So it's like eye candy. So, and I think I have it and I can't find it, which is driving me crazy. Anyway, that's why we have the overlay. And if you are curious, go ahead and check it out. We do every other month, read a book, so it's not too strenuous. And as I said, discuss it offline. Right now, it's some very dear friends, and we have great discussions. And it's been all over the place. But I'm hoping this is a good choice and that people will like it. I mean, it's got to do with books. It will also count for the Asian Readathon in April, so that's exciting. And a modern author who I've seen in interviews and seems very interesting. So very excited about that. Feel free to check it out for this if you like in April. And I think that's all. My next announcement is just that I'll be on Emma Bennett's channel for her anniversary. So like I'm having a birthday next month. Emma is organizing a anniversary stream and it's already out and scheduled. So that's definitely exciting. And I'm excited to be a co-host then. So that should be fun. Let's see. Yes. We'll be the same age until June 10th. Oh, okay. So we've got a couple of months of being the same age, but you're the year ahead then, I guess. Emma says you're going to be the same age as me, so I think I should be included. I like cake and wine. It's 42. Jeremy should love this, right? Like, give me a science fiction sort of suggestion. I don't know. Yeah, so that should be fun, and that's just like some fun things to think about. Oh, Eva was here, swinging by to hit the like. Love it. Thank you, dear. And yes, beautiful cover, gorgeous book. Oops, it jumped up. And I don't know how successful sending cake would be, but I thought about trying. We'll see. We'll see, Emma. All right, so that is the first two books and my little intermission break, and let's jump back into the next one, which is Mother Ireland by Edna O'Brien, blurbed by William Trevor, who's another Irish writer. So this is my Irish readathon pick. I haven't been telling people where I got the books. I keep track of it, but used copy. It's a memoir. It's my first time with this author, Edna O'Brien. I'm sorry I don't have a buy link because this is apparently not available on Bookshop. Or Blackwell's. I can't remember. I was like looking everywhere for a link and I couldn't find one. She's getting up there. I think she's like 90-ish in age, but still alive. Living in London, last bio I saw. And this is structured in 7 chapters / essays where they're varying length, right? Some are like 15 pages and some are 2. But she's looking back at her time in Ireland growing up in Munster, in the, not county, the 4 fields of Ireland, whatever those are called. And also when she came back to visit country of origin, she's examining the stamp it's left on her. And it's really interesting. So this, let's see, when was it written? I think it was like 2000. Oops, very fast. Oh no, 1976. I should have remembered that. First American printing in 1999, but she wrote this in 1976. So it's a different time for Ireland, 1976. That was sort of part of the Troubles, where there was a lot of violence and not a lot of religious freedom yet, still from like the Catholic grip on the country. So a very interesting thing to revisit now, 50 years later. What did I say? Some passages I cannot understand because of regional words. So even me, because this is modern, this isn't 19th century dialect that I've studied, this is like modern-ish regional words of places that I haven't said a book. So like couldn't understand all of them and I just had to keep going with the words. But overall, I found the tone very interesting. It sort of alternates between fond resignation, like, oh, they'll always be this way kind of thing. Like, I'm related to this person and I can't get away from them. And I know I should love them and all that. But yeah, okay. This kind of like shrug, resignation. It alternates with vehement criticism. So when you're up in each other's face going, why did you do this to me? And like, how could you say that? And, she presents some stark, things that were not okay that went on when she was a kid. And I wouldn't say there's trigger warnings for things, but there's just like telling it like it is. So Mother Ireland, complicated. That's why the mother in the title really makes sense, because it's a complicated relationship, close, interwoven, interknit relationship with all the emotions. And again, short book, woman writer, so women's history, but also Irish readathon. And yeah, it's like 4 stars. Interesting piece of history. All right, rounding third to hit the home base. My last one, also a reread. Strange, right? I've gotten 2 rereads in a month. We're still figuring out our ages. Oh, I like this. I like we're in the same camp. Yeah. Hi, Jordan. Jordan Mahoney says, I've seen videos and documentaries of the Troubles, my friend. I can tell you personally, it was not a good time for Ireland as a whole. Discussed before my time. I'm not sure about the last part, but I think you mean it happened before your time. Yeah, I've read some of it. And one of the movies that hits me the most is In the Name of the Father for this, because that really shows sort of the tensions and, recriminations. Hi, Jim. Jim's books reading and stuff coming in to weigh in on the age debate, the special 42 number with Douglas Adams. He's seen the back of it a while ago. Let's just say that. Okay, so the last book I'm going to treat today, Dandy Gilver and the Reek of Red Herrings by Katrina McPherson. And I watched an interview of her yesterday for some background. I've seen an interview of her with Laurie R. King, and that's what made me go, oh, she seems really cool. She lives in California now, obviously cool. And she's written like 30 plus mystery books and a few others. She started out as an academic linguist, which is apropos for this book, which I'll get into in a second. And in the interview, she actually explains why she gave her heroine the name Dandy Gilver. So Dandy is short for Dandelion Dahlia, which is her ridiculous posh woman name in the 1920s. This is a historical mystery that's representative of that. But then Gilver is a portmanteau, if Melissa is watching after this, of Gil, which stands for Gilly, which is like the servant who was in charge of the hunting and keeping the animals on an estate, and Ver, which is truth. So Dandy, hunter of truth, or servant of truth, however you want to say that. And so she explained that, and I was like, I never would have traced that back to the source. That's very cool. So we've got the Reek of Red Herrings. This is a very cool cover. And the title is a pun of red herrings because that is a false lead in a mystery, but we're also dealing with the herring lasses, the herring quines, if you will, in Aberdeen. Aberdeen, you say? Hasn't Margaret mentioned that recently several times? Yes, you know why? Because for some reason, the universe... Oh, now the pile is going to fall on the ground. That's okay. The universe wants me to read about it. I've got this nonfiction that I'm reading, Jocks, voices of Scottish soldiers from the First World War, which is primarily Aberdonian Doric dialect speakers, and it's all written in here with a glossary for all those hard to say words. You want to taste? You want to taste? When I started work, I raised at 5 and worked till next. Then I fed my beasts again at 9. We all took an interest in where work tea and all pride in where beasts. They were mostly all bred on the farm, the horses. I've worked all my life and still do. And it's written like that, so you can like hear the rolling accents. But it's taken me a long time. It's very slow reading. So there's that one. There it is. There it fell. And then this one, the other nonfiction, The Great Silence, which is armistice till 1920, and what people were like after the armistice and demobilization and like the stuff that went on that you never hear about because it was such a short period of time, but a lot went on. And I think there's one character she follows that's like from the northeast of Scotland. So, so 2 nonfiction and a fiction. So I reread this one. I think this might have been downgraded as well. Started out 5 stars and it's down to 4. It's a lovely mystery. What is it about? It's a historical mystery after maybe 10 of these. It's like later on in the series, but it's completely fine as a standalone mystery. And she's writing about a woman named Candy Gilver, who's a posh married lady who flits about the country, solving mysteries with her friend, Alex Osborne, who is not related, but they were thrown together for the first case, and then they became business partners as detectives. But they have to go in disguise because they can't travel as an unmarried couple together in the northeast of Scotland in the 1920s. That would not be proper. So, she goes up. There's, well, I don't want to ruin the premise. The premise is so funny the way it's introduced, but there is a murder and she's asked by a client to take it on and figure out what to do. It has to be very discreet. So she goes up and she's trying to investigate how someone could have died in the midst of people processing, which I mean like gutting and throwing in a barrel and salting herring when it comes in as a catch off the boat. You guys hear that outside? Should I go close the window? Let me know. Let me take a break and ask and wait for the answer to that question. Oh, loving my 40s, old enough not to care what people think all the time, young enough to still be half decent on date night. I love that, Emma. Oh, yeah, that would be so hard to read. It is pretty hard. It's interesting. It's good, like, historical detail, but it's slow. And you just have to like change your gears sometimes. So yeah, that's bugging me too much. One moment. Leaf blowers, huh? Oh, JC couldn't hear it. Well, it was annoying enough to me that I had to get up and close the window. Okay. Dandy Gilver. What else do I have to say about Dandy Gilver? Oh, I know. So I'm rereading a series of mysteries that I took out to see if I wanted to keep them from my shelf, and I will be keeping this one, if not because it's a great mystery, just because the Aberdonian may come in handy. We'll see. The reason I say it's interesting that Katrina McPherson is an academic linguist who ended up writing books, and this is like her 10th or 11th book, is that she makes Dandy Gilver pose as a philologist who's studying the local folkways and traditions. That's her cover story, and it's just funny that she has to pretend not to know how to write things down and make notes and ask questions about language and relations. Like an anthropologist would. That's actually what she did in terms of linguists and stuff. So that was cool. And the funny additional thing is that it was strange to hear the narrator's voice. So Dandy, who's narrating, I believe. Did she say I? Yeah, we. So Dandy Gilver is supposed to be from Northamptonshire, but living with her husband on his estate in Perthshire. And so they have gone up as detectives to Aberdeen. So this is like south to north to even further north for those who don't know the Anglophile goodness. And Northamptonshire is an English accent, right? That's the one that I learned when I was just speaking because that's where I lived, where I learned how to speak. But I'm hearing it with the author's accent. And Katrina McPherson, in her interviews, is from Edinburgh and has a very strong Scottish accent. And in my mind, it mixes in with Susan Calman's, who's got a very strong Glaswegian accent. So, like, it's just funny to hear the voice of the book in my head and how it sort of like flits around and it can't really settle. So that was just my enjoying the book and me passing that on to everybody. If you don't know who Susan Calman is, I suggest you look up her name on YouTube. She's a frequent guest on QI and has lots of fun stories. And like, I just really think she's funny. So I've been watching those lately. So those are my 4 books for this week. Very funny. Very funny. I'm too quick. I'm too quick for y'all. Leslie's here. Late, but here. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, maturing like a fine wine. I like that, even though I don't like wine. So what is up on the horizon? I've already highlighted that I'm going to be on Emma Bennett's channel for her YouTube anniversary. And I've said that there is a call for suggestions on my community tab. Would really appreciate that. And that we have a library of legends coming up for our book club. So what's coming next on the channel is the standalone book review for Sex Talks, where I get in even more detail about what's in the book and what I'm really affecting and compelling about Vanessa Marin's book. And that'll be Sunday. Saturday. Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday. Wait, 15th. Yeah, this Saturday. Okay, before that, this Saturday, the 18th, you will find me, guess where, folks? Barrett Laurie's channel for live karaoke. So it's his turn this month. We had to delay a week. I was sick, and he was on vacation. So now he'll be back and I'll be less snotty and we'll sound loads better, hopefully. Last time we didn't get anyone else to come up. We just had to sing ourselves. So please take pity on us. Learn a song. Baby your voice. Make sure you don't come down with something like JC did last time. And come join us. That would be amazing. What I will have... Yeah, JC got it. What I will have next time is this book for the Irish Readathon. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to finish that one. An Old Woman's Reflections by Peg Sayers. She's a woman who is a trained storyteller from the Blasket Islands in southwest Ireland. And her storytelling style, her rhythm of voice is very apparent in this. So I'll probably read some of this. Oh, I didn't read the Mother Island ones. I put it on my notes and forgot to do it. Yeah, so let me read some from Edna O'Brien's. See if you agree with her opinion of her own country. Ooh. I like it. All right, so Edna O'Brien's first part of her essay. Irish people do not like to be contradicted. Foiled again and again, they have in them a rage that comes at you unawares, like a briar jutting out of a hedge. There are those who cannot forget the past, and there are those only too eager to forget it and bury it in one of the much sanctified breezes. Maud Gunn McBride, patriot and one whose beauty was a continuous inspiration to W.B. Yeats, saw the heart of Ireland as being powerfully alive and invisibly peopled. But then she saw things that less psychic mortals could not apprehend. The country is breathlessly beautiful, but there is too an undeniable sadness. The sadness of being cut off, the sadness of rabid materialism, Jerry building, visual barbarities, and a cultural atrophy that goes all the way to the brain. The new poems and new plays are few indeed, and represent either small voices that are sad with their own alienation, or works of such tastelessness that they are indexes of the masked psyche of a people who are throttled. No great philosophers, no great psychiatrists, no achievement where logic is paramount. A great literary endowment, true, but lean offerings over the past 30 or 40 years. So, yeah, little criticism. Then here's a nicer thing that she has. This is toward the end when she's talking about being in the convent school and like having the vision that she was going to be a nun because that was like the most validated choice she could make. I, with my vocation blazoned above my head, was allowed to visit a nun there at the old folks' home next door, who was a distant cousin. She was small and enthusiastic and full of life. It was bliss being able to have tea in a little parlor, to drink it from maroon-patterned china cups, and to watch the serrated knife as she pushed it into the perfect sponge cake. Wonderful to be party to her friendliness, to answer all her questions, although she was already asking the next question, to eat to one's heart's content. Once she said that no, she would not have lived her life all over again had she foreseen its vicissitudes, and I, full of strawberries and with the holidays looming, had no inkling of what she was saying, only that I adored her. There's a lot packed into that, right? She has a special relationship with this distant cousin who's an older retired nun. And she says to this young girl, no, I wouldn't live my life all over again if I knew how hard it was going to be. And that obviously stuck with her because she put it in the book. Like, so puzzling but affecting. That was my Irish Readathon read this week. So I would definitely recommend it. See what you think. Emma says, my pa was Irish, born in Dublin. Always celebrate St. Patrick's Day for him by making Irish soda bread. Passed away 6 years ago. That sounds like a good tradition. Yeah. Yeah. You like baking. I'm seeing a theme here. I love it. I love it. Oh, well, that is all I have for now. I hope you can find me in the future lives and maybe join us on karaoke on Barrett Laurie's channel. Until then, happy reading, everybody. Have a lovely rest of your week. And beware the Ides of March today. All right. Bye, everybody.